It's already week 5 of this NFL season, and welcome to Cowboys Insider inside the Academy Sports and Outdoors studios at the Star in Frisco, Texas. The Cowboys taking on the Green Bay Packers this week after falling to the Los Angeles Rams 35-30 last week. Bill Jones with Nate Newton, Rick Gosselin, and DARYL Johnston. Over the course of the next half hour, we look ahead to the Packers. We look back at the Rams. So much to get to, and let's jump right into it with the Moose right off the top.
How many minutes are in a football game, Nate?
60 minutes.
60 minutes.
Yes,
60
sir.
minutes. All right. Dallas is having a little bit of trouble right now playing for 60 minutes, whether it's the first 15 against Arizona, the last 30 against the Rams. They got to find a way to play 60 minutes against the Packers because we all know what happened at the end of the playoff.
You know, our defense is young. We're looking for this war horse, war daddy, whatever. 3 times their backs against the wall. One against a punt, one against a long kickoff return, one against interception. They only gave up 3 each time. If we're to believe that our offense is the key, come on, fellas. The 60 minutes he's talking about, and that's Moose Johnson, we need.
Who'd have thought that after 1 month we'd be saying, boy, the Cowboys sure do miss Doug Free. Fix the offensive line and you fix the Cowboys.
All right. So those are some topics we get into over the next 30 minutes. Let's start with giving some credit to the Rams, and we were doing that a week ago. Todd Gurley playing very well. Jared Goff in his second year playing very well, and the Cowboys defense had troubles, especially in the second half against the Rams.
Yeah, but I think the big thing is the additions they made in the offensive line. And you can have great skill players and you can have a great running back, but if the protection's not there and the running lanes aren't there, so I think Andrew Whitworth, and I think he came in and he established a leadership role, kind of what Rick is saying about Doug Free with the offensive line here. It's not just what you do on the field, it's also what you do in the meeting rooms and on the practice field. And I think that Andrew Whitworth has brought a professional level with experience that's helping out the young guys.
And you know, it's amazing that Tavon Austin in the first half, they were just using him as a decoy. All of a sudden in the second half, especially in the third, and late in the third and early in the fourth, he became the real McCoy. And he started running the ball along with Sexy Gurley, and things just got out of hand for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I talked to Les Snead, the Rams GM, yesterday, and he said the offseason, one of their priorities was getting reliability at the wide receiver position. Guys that run routes and catch the ball when it arrives, which is why they drafted Kupp and they went out and got Watkins and Woods. Jared Goff now has receivers he can trust, and it shows. You know,
DeMarcus Lawrence did get another sack. He's got 7.5 on the season. You mentioned the war daddy, though, off the top, Nate, and the lack of a pass rush against this young quarterback showed in Sunday's game.
Yeah, if you don't put this team behind the chains, you know, Sean McVay know how to move guys around, give good formation. If you don't put this team behind the chains, he relaxed like we did much of last year. Quarterback relaxed, and like my man Rick said, they found these receivers and they caught the ball.
Yeah. And you know, when you in the second half now, you've got to stop Gurley. You're keyed on Gurley, and here comes Austin. So you're focusing, and all of a sudden this guy comes sliding across the jet sweep, and that's where you get your yardage.
And I think you saw what Sean Lee out of the lineup means.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many plays sideline to sideline, and this whole Tavon offense is basically, okay, it's going to be an outside zone, it's going to be a jet sweep, it's going to be an orbit. There's not a whole lot of plays that he has in his repertoire right now, and they're all sideline to sideline. And I think the loss of Sean in that lineup was evident.
And Tavon Austin had not done much the first 3 games of the season for the Rams, but he did a whole lot in the second half against the Cowboys. All right, let's flip it over to the Cowboys offense. It's Talk Radio's been talking about the Cowboys offense. They did put up 30 points in this game, but they didn't put up enough in this game.
Well, they put up 24 in the first half, right? So they only put up 6 in the second half. So when you start out the way they started out the game, we've all talked about the Dez Bryant production on the outside, 50-50 jump balls. Where's the separation? All that. He starts off great with a big play on the outside. You would think that would have led to some confidence in the passing game, but it seemed like not only with Dez, but Dak was just a little bit off. We saw Beasley going to the middle of the field and him throwing the out. There was just a few things that were out of sync for him in the passing game.
You know what? Last year, man, they had big yardage. They had like 44 catches, and I'm talking about Witten and Beasley had 44 catches for 400-some yards, and they was averaging on third downs 50%. This year here, it's 35, 250 yards, and they're only 38%. Beasley and Witten got to find a way to get back in it. And I know the running game is what's big, but what made the quarterback feel good was those 2 guys.
So how much of it is the defense taking away Beasley and Witten, though, from a scheme?
A lot.
Well, you can't take everybody away,
but
though,
you can't take everybody away on every play. And we have to get comfortable and put our will, like we did last year, and I say us because I'm still a Cowboy, put our will on top of these guys, man, and make it happen. This is an execution offense, Moose. You know this. We're not a scheming offense. It's about you taking a personal battle and winning it.
But you got to make your quarterback comfortable in a pocket. And last week was the biggest beating I think I've seen him take. Now, one thing I noticed and I found interesting, for the first 3 games this season, Michael Brockers played nose tackle in the 3-4. Last week, Wade Phillips flipped him over to left end across from Collins. You're going to have to give Leo Collins help. And this is just a minor spotlight on a major problem. Cowboys right now are controlling the ball for a little over 28 minutes a game. Last year, they led the league at 33 minutes. You cannot put this defense out there for over 30 minutes and expect to win a football game. The Cowboys have to get back to running the football, blocking, controlling the clock, and taking the pressure off that defense. The offensive line's got to get fixed to run the ball.
And it didn't seem like it mattered who Aaron Donald lined up against on the inside. I mean, even Zach Martin, I mean, that guy was a beast inside all across from left guard to center to right guard.
We were in the press box, we were saying, get Nate down there.
No,
Who can block that man?
That dude is 6 foot, 290 pounds of fury. I want nothing to do with it.
All right, we're just getting started here on Cowboys Insider. Cowboys did not have success against that Cal quarterback. How about this Cal quarterback who's coming to AT&T Stadium? The Packers will be in town Sunday.
Cowboys Insider, presented by Baylor Scott & White, is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, the official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys, AT&T, mobilizing your world, and by Baylor Scott & White. We're changing healthcare for life. This segment is brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Nobody does sports like Sports Day. Your home for complete Dallas Cowboys coverage.
In the gun with Elliott to his left. They go stack right slot, back to throw. Left flat Elliott. Going to have to make a man miss and did. First down, and he got to the pylon, and he got a touchdown.
Not a lot of running backs get into the end zone on a play like that, but Zeke Elliott found the end zone. Welcome back to Cowboys Insider. Bill Jones with Nate Newton, Rick Gosselin, and DARYL Johnston. It is the Green Bay Packers coming to AT&T Stadium on Sunday. We're here to break it down, and just like the Rams a week ago, the Packers have 10 days to prepare for the Cowboys because they played a Thursday night game last week, beating Chicago, and it's a decimated Packers team, especially in that game, but they have Aaron Rodgers healthy, and Aaron Rodgers looks like the Aaron Rodgers we've always seen, right, DARYL?
Absolutely. And you can talk about the injuries that they have on the offensive line, but because that football comes out so quickly, Mike McCarthy does a great job of adjusting when he has issues like this. We saw the Super Bowl year when they had 15 guys on IR and still were able to go on and win the Super Bowl. Whatever issue is at the forefront for the Green Bay Packers, they always seem to find a way around it. Going all the way back to the RELAX, relaxed statement from Aaron Rodgers. They don't get ruffled. They just keep playing football.
Cobb, Jordan Nelson, Devontae Adams. I'm trying to figure out all the names. Now they found a guy named Geronimo. So it don't matter who he's throwing the ball to. He don't care about a running game. He just want to throw the ball and and he'll run to balance you up every now and then, but he want to throw the ball. So stopping the run ain't a big thing this week, but stopping this cat is.
Yeah, DARYL says the ball does come out quick, but you can sack him. He's been sacked in a game 6 times, 4 times, and 3 times. But last week, without his tackles, he was only sacked one time. So the key is you're going to have to find some kind of pressure on Aaron Rodgers. If you don't pressure Rodgers and you let him stand back there like that playoff game where he has 8 seconds to throw, you got big problems.
Well, Wade Phillips had the answers for the Cowboys offense in the second half of the game on Sunday. What about this Packers defense?
You got Clay Matthews,
Mike Daniels.
Clinton Dix. You got Josh Jones, a rookie that took Barnett's place. They're going to try to sack you. What Don Capers tries to do is put you in that bad situation that he come with all these exotic blitz. If we could just keep things level, keep a good dominant run game in front of them, make them think, we should be okay.
So you're saying the focus will be on the offensive line this week?
It will be the focus.
Very astute of you.
Wow, man. Don't do me like that. We will take over. We will impose our will, and that's the offensive line. This is what the team built off of, Moose.
Yeah, but back inside again, I mean, we can talk about the adjustment of Brockers on the outside against Lyle Collins, but I think, again, it comes back to what they saw Aaron Donald do inside. Mike Daniels is a beast inside, and he's going to be moving across that center guard area trying to find a preferable matchup. And I think you're exactly right. It comes down to what the Rams did to the Cowboys last week. Dallas needs to run the football effectively. They got to stay out of third and long situations. That is when you'll get in trouble against this defense.
If you want to win this game, you got to give Elliott 25 to 30 carries. This has got to be an Ezekiel Elliott game at home.
All right, we continue here on Cowboys Insider in just a moment. What is this Cowboys identity on offense? I think Goose just alluded to it. We get back in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Nobody does sports like Sports Day. Your home for complete Dallas Cowboys coverage. This segment is brought to you by DraftKings. Play for free today at DraftKings.com, America's favorite one-week fantasy football site.
Giving Elliott a rest. Prescott under center, first down. Handoff, Morris coming left. Nice hole. Touch to the middle. Running away 50. Alfred to the 40. Alfred to the 30. Alfred being chased to the 15. 10 and 5. And caught at the 4. Hey, Alfred, how's your Sunday, bub?
The C's open for Alfred Morris, and he goes 71 yards, setting up an Ezekiel Elliott touchdown against the Rams on Sunday. Welcome back to Cowboys Insider inside the Academy Sports and Outdoor Studios here at the Star. That was a big play for the Cowboys offense, and in fact, the Cowboys offense had 4 possessions in the first half of that game against the Rams. They had a field goal and 3 touchdowns. Second half, 4 straight punts to start the half. But let's talk about this offensive line that Goose and Nate just got into a moment ago. But Daryl, what you've talked about from the start of the season, you lose 40% of your offensive line from last year. You lost left guard Ron Leary, right tackle Doug Free. It does have an effect, doesn't it?
It does, but that time has passed, and Travis Frederick actually told us that when we sat down with him last Friday before the game, and he said, listen, we're week 4 right now. That's an excuse at this point. The adjustments should be made. We should understand playing next to each other, and there shouldn't be any more issues moving forward. Unfortunately, it's still inconsistent up front with the offensive line, and I agree with him. It should be passed. I don't know what the issues are right now, but this does not look like the same line as we saw last season.
And Devin is not the same line. They used to close out games with 4 minutes left, or even if they drive and they need a touchdown or a field goal, you could depend on these guys. But last week you saw leakage all over this young guy, and he barely survived. I mean, they wound up losing the game.
Yeah, I think the best coaching in football is done on the defensive side of the ball because the rules are all stacked against them. These coaches have had the offseason to watch the Dallas offense, to watch Prescott, to watch Elliott, to watch that line. What they've decided is they're not going to let Elliott run. They're going to take the 2 safety valves, Witten and Beasley, out, and they're going to make Prescott throw from the pocket. He's not comfortable throwing from the pocket, and I think we see that his feet are moving more now than we saw all of last season. And now they're going to have to start making some plays on a flank, and Dez has got to step up and be an elite receiver.
And how much does it affect the defense when the offense isn't controlling the game like it did last year? Obviously, last year the Cowboys are the #1 run defense in the league, and obviously they've lost a lot of players off that team from last year. But the blueprint for success last year was controlling the game from the first drive of the game offensively. It's not happening this year. How much is it affecting the defense?
No, I think it impacts the defense quite a bit. It's like Rick talked about with time of possession. Your best defense is a good offense. You know, keep that other offense off the field, and Dallas is not doing that this year. They did it in the first half. You mentioned 4 possessions, 4 scoring drives. The 3 touchdowns, 81, 75, and 75. They were not on a short field like they were in Arizona. They had good drives, so it's there. It's just not there consistently right now.
73, 75, 68 plays is what our defense playing. I don't know what they played last year, but they don't look as fresh like they did at the end of games. So the accumulation of plays and stressing guys that have not played 30 and 40 and 50 plays, like Jalen Smith, he's doing the best he can, but it's not good enough.
Yeah, it's even more important than last year to protect this defense. Last year it was a veteran team. This is a young defense. They got a lot of young guys that need help. The less a defense plays the fresher a defense plays and the better a defense plays. They got to get back to where this defense is playing 26, 27 minutes a game, and I think you'll see a much better defensive effort.
I think it's the biggest reason Chip Kelly is no longer in the NFL. He never got the idea of complementary football, that you can't leave your defense on the field for 32, 33, 34 minutes a game, even though your offense is moving up and down the field.
There are reinforcements on the way. David Irving this week is back from his 4-game suspension. We'll see if Sean Lee and Anthony Hitchens could be close to returning as well. We go around the league when Cowboys Insider continues in a moment from the Star in Frisco.
This segment was brought to you by DraftKings. Play for free today at DraftKings.com, America's favorite one-week fantasy football site.
Snap goes back to Hecker, and he will kick it, and he's a good one. High and very deep. Switzer's under it, and he will catch it and fumble it.
That was a big play in that loss to the Rams on Sunday. We turn our attention to this week, though, in the NFL here on Cowboys Insider inside the Academy Sports and Outdoor Studios. Cowboys and Packers. Cowboys now at 2-2 on the season. Tied for second in the NFC East. And as we go around the league, let's start at the top of the NFC East, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles, who win over the Chargers last week. DARYL calling the Arizona-Philly game this week. Third time this season he's called a Cardinal game, but already doing prep work on the Eagles. Are they for real, the Eagles?
I think we have to wait a little bit longer to see if they're for real. The last two opponents have not won a game, the Chargers and the Giants. But I go to that Kansas City game at Arrowhead. It was 13-13 with 9 minutes to go in the game. They have some mistakes, and all of a sudden it's 27-13, and they've got an onside kick with a shot into the end zone at the end of the game to tie that thing up. So Philadelphia, they're a gutsy team. They're better than they were last year. Wentz has more weapons around him, very similar to Goff, and that defense under Jim Schwartz is really starting to find that style.
The Eagles, if they were to draft again right now, just like last year, they'd still take Carson Wentz.
They take Wentz, and the Rams still take Goff. I thought last year Dak was a great fit in what the Cowboys had. You're playing a rookie quarterback with the best running back in football and the best offensive line in football. He was a great fit. Now they're asking him to make more plays, and I think we're seeing a little bit now why he was more of a fourth-round draft pick than the second or third pick of the draft.
All right, the Eagles already played the Chiefs. How about the Redskins? They played on Monday night against the Chiefs and played them right down to the wire, and the Redskins are looking pretty good right now.
You know, I'm liking them. I'm liking what they're doing. I'm liking what their quarterback trying to do. But that defense is what's surprising. Now, Moose know a little bit more about the defensive coordinator and stuff, but their cornerbacks were bringing the heat. They were laying the leather into Josh Norman got hurt. This Redskin team was poised to get an upset there.
What's Jim Tomsula brought to the Redskins?
He's another Rod Marinelli with the defensive line. Chris Sherrick up in Detroit always seems to find a way. Jim Tomsula, those guys, he will get every single ounce out of those guys. He'll make them think they're better than they actually are, and they'll play at that level. He's unbelievable as a positional coach. Greg Minuski as a defensive coordinator. This defense may be the best defense in the division. Washington looked great in the
Yes.
game.
And that's my concern in the East. Even the Giants, Redskins, Eagles all play good defense. Cowboys are not in that group.
Giants probably get off the schneid this week as they play the Chargers, but 0-4. Ben McAdoo, things are not going well for him in New York, right, Goose?
No, and the funny thing is, last year the problem was the offensive line, and they did nothing to address the offensive line. They brought the same 5 guys back intact. I mean, you aren't going to solve the problem. Status quo doesn't solve the problem. That's why the Giants are a mess.
What do you call their left tackle?
Oh, man, turnstile. I'm going to tell you something, man. You know what? And I love coaches because they're supposed to put you in the best position to win, to be able to be successful. He has not done anything to help his offensive line. It's called 2 tight ends. It's called a fullback. Right. It's like help your offensive line. I mean, I love the little outside wide receiver, but he can't block nobody.
I would not go to sleep on the Chargers. Philadelphia beat them running the football last weekend. Giants can't run the football. They've got big play on the outside. Phillip Rivers is one of my favorite guys in the NFL. It wouldn't shock me to see the Giants 0-5.
All right, so you heard it here first. The Giants will be 0-5 when we reconvene next week. All right, the keys to a Cowboys win over the Packers when we wrap up Cowboys Insider in just a moment.
Cowboys Insider, presented by Baylor Scott & White, was brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. Rico's, make every game a home game with Rico's. Baylor Scott & White, it's easy to find the right doctor right now at BaylorScottandWhite.com. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' films and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
From inside the Academy Sports and Outdoor Studios here at the Star in Frisco, Texas, this is Cowboys Insider. Final couple of minutes as we preview Cowboys versus Packers. You just love it when the Cowboys and the Packers get together. Such a big game for the Cowboys as they try to get to 3-2 on the season. So what's the key to a Cowboys victory? Let's start with Daryl.
Yeah, I'm not going to look at a matchup, offensive, defensively, positionally. There's sayings in the NFL. You'll see the guys at the end of the third quarter hold up the hand, 4 quarters, 45 for 60. The key to that is 4 quarters and 60 minutes, and the Cowboys haven't played. If they play 4 quarters in 60 minutes the way that they're capable of playing, they'll win this game. If they don't, they're going to be 2-3.
Stay balanced, find a turnover, and as you can see, my fingers are straighter than Moose.
He didn't hold as much as I did.
What Dom Capers wants to do is rush the passer. What do defensive line want to do? They want to rush at the quarterback, not tackle runners. Run the ball.
And on that, we wrap up this edition of Cowboys Insider. It's been 50 years, basically, since the Ice Bowl, the Cowboys and the Packers. Can you believe that, Nate?
I was 5 years old.
1967. And a series that goes back to the first year of this Cowboys franchise. Should be a good one on Sunday afternoon. It's a 3:25 kickoff at AT&T Stadium and on Fox. And we will see you again to wrap this one up and get you ready for the bye week next week here on Cowboys Insider.